what is natural language processing? Basically, first we should look at what is natural language. Natural language is a way of communication between two actors. Similarly, whenever we say a computer language or computational language, we say that it is a mechanism through which a human interacts with a computing system. Based on this definition, we move towards natural language processing domain in relationship with computer sciences. So natural language processing domain is basically area of those algorithms which help computer systems to understand natural languages. Those natural languages should be related to human beings such as English, Urdu and so on. So by definition we can say that natural language processing is a field or area in computer science, artificial intelligence and computational linguistics which is concerned with the interaction between humans and computing machines. Then what is the major focus in natural language processing? There are basically two major parts of natural language processing systems, which are number one, natural language understanding systems, in which we try to understand what is written in a natural language format, and then natural language generation. Natural language generation means that we want to produce artificial natural language from a computing device. For proper working of natural language generation systems and natural language understanding systems, there is in between another system which is called human computer interface, HCI, which stands between a computer and a human and facilitates both the parties for natural language understanding or natural language generation. What are different methods to perform NLP tasks? So basically, first we should understand what are different NLP tasks. For example, if I say that a boy is playing football, can I say that this sentence is related to the class of a sports scene? So how we can decide this is a sports scene? If I say that football basically is a equipment for a sports, then we can say that okay, this scene or this sentence belongs to sports class. Okay, for working on this information we have different methods. Number one method is manual or handwritten rules. So what are handwritten rules? That a user basically who is mostly an expert in specific domain says okay, if these words occur in some sentence or in some text, then it is part of this specific class. For example, in our example, which was a boy is playing football, football is the most relevant word which relates to the class of sports. Moving on, we have statistical inferencing algorithms. So whenever we talk about statistics, we need very huge amount of data, and then based on that data we try to find out or classify our textual documents or data. So what are the advantages of using statistical information algorithms? They would be very good against our unfamiliar inputs. Suppose whenever a human is annotating some data, if a new terms come across, then he will have to make new rules for that term. On the other hand, computer will try to match that term with the most nearby term and will assign some label to that term. Similarly, they are robust to erroneous input. Erroneous input means when some words are misspelled or accidentally omitted, यानी कि उनको हम अगर लिखना भूल जाते हैं, then जो हमारे पास statistical inferencing algorithms हैं, they will be available, or they can put some class to that particular data. So basically most of the methods in NLP are either stochastic. Stochastic means they are not deterministic, they are non-deterministic. Then probabilistic, they are based on probabilities which have values between 0 and 1. And then they are statistical. So statistical means they have some sort of training data, and then testing data is applied based on the results of training data. And then we have methods for disambiguation, and this method of disambiguation means that if there are some sort of confusion between the data, then we can sort out that confusion, remove that confusion using different rules, which one example of those rules are Markov chain models, which I will explain later on. And then we have specific corpora. Corpora means corpus. Corpus means our data with its annotation. So what are different tasks in NLP? Major tasks in NLP are automatic summarization of the textual data. So Easily an example of this summarization can be, we have a paragraph and we write only one sentence which represents complete information from that paragraph. We have discourse analysis. Discourse analysis, an example is that if I say a sentence that John is playing football, he is a very good player, so he and John are basically related to each other. Machine translation, when we translate something from one language to another, such as from English to Urdu. Morphological segmentation. Morphological segmentation is basically based on some basic structure or shape of textual data, such as from sentences we can write words, and from words we can find out different part of speech and etc. Then name entity recognition. For example, John is playing football. John is a named entity, basically a noun which has some name. Natural language generation, to generate artificial language, and then natural language understanding. And finally, what are different applications of NLP? There is a huge set of applications. I have listed very few of them in this slide, which are native language identification. So if a person speaks, then we can identify if he is an either native Urdu or English speaker. Stemming. Stemming means conversion of verb to its base form, such as if I say goes, so base form of goes is go. Then text simplification, text to speech, text proofing, natural language search, and so on. So there are thousands of applications if we have some good engine for natural language processing which makes use of natural language plus computer machines.